Hi, good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, evening, depending on where you're joining us from. We're just going to give one more minute for people to join the webinar, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, we'll go ahead and dive in for now as more people join. Welcome, my name is Jessica Stern. I am the Assistant Dean of Graduate Admission at the USC Viterbi School of Engineering. I am joined today by Dr. Neff, who is the Program Director and Professor at the Annenberg School for Communication and Journalism, as well as Susan Zhang. Excuse me, Susan, I don't have your official titles, but I know you can speak to advisement and career services at the Annenberg School. So welcome, and we're also joined by our wonderful staff on the Viterbi side who are also here to assist with questions. Thank you so much for joining, and first and foremost, congratulations on your admission to the master's program in Communication Data Science. Huge achievement that we definitely want to acknowledge and celebrate with you. Today, we're going to share a little bit of an overview of the school, as well as dive deep into the program that you've been admitted to and give you a sense of what you can expect by joining this master's program, both during the program as well as the amazing opportunities that would be available to you upon completion. So let's go ahead and get started. As I mentioned, you are now part of the Trojan family, and this is a huge accomplishment. So being part of USC means joining a community that is incredibly expansive and tight-knit, and brings upon so many opportunities for professional development, for mentorship, and just generally a sense of community and place. You'll feel it the moment you step foot on our campus at USC, and even really anywhere in Los Angeles. If you're wearing a USC shirt, you're likely to pass someone who'll say "fight on" to you. So again, welcome to our Trojan family. This also includes a very, very large and global alumni network that you would be a part of upon graduating the program. And this is one of the strongest, I would say, appealing factors of joining USC, is being part of that really amazing network. Another great thing that you get to take advantage of by being a USC student is living in Los Angeles. So we are located in downtown LA, obviously very metropolitan city with no shortage of things to do and incredible weather. But in terms of the career, opportunities for you by being in Southern California, it is truly endless, especially in your field, related to data science and computer science, related to the communication industries, entertainment. LA is really the place to be. We are a global hub for innovation. Right here, we're in this image, we're pointing to Silicon Beach because USC has very strong ties to this area. It's not only a startup ecosystem right here, about 30 minutes from USC, depending on traffic, but also it's a place where we have so many of the branch offices of huge companies that are usually headquartered in Silicon Valley that are open there. We have students pursuing internships there, jobs upon graduation. We also have our own research centers, the Information Sciences Institute, as well as the Institute of Creative Technologies right there in Silicon Beach. We know that one of the reasons you choose to pursue a graduate program is to advance your career, and we take that very seriously, and you will feel that as soon as you start your program in terms of the opportunities available to you to connect with prospective employers, to develop what your plan will be for internships and jobs, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a bit. Right now, actually. So one of the huge advantages that we hear from communication data science students is that you can take advantage of the resources and events available to you at both the Viterbi School and Annenberg. These are two top schools at USC with incredible connections and support. So on the Viterbi side, we do have our Career Connections office that is exclusively for our engineering and computer science students, which, by taking the Comm Data Science program, you are definitely under the umbrella, and you can take advantage of the big events that we have. So we have our signature events, the career and internship fair, and we'll show you the data of that in just a minute of how many prospective employers come out for that. But there are so many things in between to really develop your resume, your interview skills, to connect with alumni, get an understanding for the kinds of opportunities that are available in your industry. So that's definitely a big plus by joining this program. Oh, sorry, did I skip? Here we go. So here's that data that I was talking about, just to give you an idea. Now, this does apply to all of the, this is open to all of the Viterbi students. So of course, there will be some employers that just are not a good fit for you. But just so you understand our reach, we have 203 employers and 763 recruiters that attend our Career and Internship Expo Week. We have over 19,000 jobs that are posted for Viterbi students that you would have access to sifting through and applying to. We have so many alumni mixers, specialized activities that are on a smaller scale that you could get a lot out of, company site visits, alumni career panels. This is something that will be available to you, and it will be up to you when you start the program to really take advantage and be aware of what's going on when, put it on your calendars, and make the most of it. We also have a mentorship program that I would encourage you to join after you submit your intent to enroll. This is a great way to partner with a current graduate student at USC who can help you navigate the university, graduate student life, course registration, literally anything that you might need some guidance on, and just a great way to make a new friend. So again, this is something that will become available to you after you submit your intent to enroll. I talked a little bit about our community already. We have so many student organizations, virtually for any academic, professional interest, hobby, cultural identification. There's tons of ways for you to get involved, to be engaged outside of the classroom. And I will say, I do think, I know this exists in virtually every university, but something that I always hear, what's special about USC, is that our students are not only so incredibly ambitious and smart and passionate about what they pursue on the academic side, but they are equally as involved in so many other things outside of the academic setting. So we do have an app called Engage SC where you can learn about so many things going on campus, whether you just want to attend an event or you actually want to join a club based on your interests. There's lots there. Here, just a few more examples of things. Our campus is incredibly vibrant, especially when you come in the fall. You will feel that, not just because football season and the Trojan Marching Band, and like you see pictured here, but you'll always see our main Truesdale Road walkway filled with activity and student organizations and lots of things going on, wellness events, puppy parties. There's always something going on. So just to emphasize, the statement of intent deadline is coming up. So that's, for most students, that will be April 15th, although you should double check your UYOUSC portal to double check your date. But the sooner you submit your statement of intent, the sooner you have access to a lot of the resources that I shared today, including the mentorship program. You also can more quickly secure your housing option, whether or not you choose to live in USC housing, which is pretty limited. We'll also have information about orientation at that time. And super important for those of you who are international students, once you submit your statement of intent, then you can submit your financial documents and request your I-20 to get your visa process started. So that is something we would encourage you to do as soon as possible. I already mentioned the deadline and where you can find it in your portal. You can scan the QR code here if you are an international student and want to learn a little bit more about that I-20 process. It's done through a system called Trojan International. That's where you would submit your financial documents. So yeah, very important, maybe screenshot if you have a sec. This concludes my portion of the presentation, but before I pass it on to Dr. Neff, I do want to also mention that the university just either 1 or 2 years ago, launched a billion-dollar initiative called Frontiers of Computing. And part of that, and something that you all would feel by being part of Communication Data Science program, is the way that we are weaving in interdisciplinary study and specifically computing and data science in all of what we do. And this, by virtue of being communication data science, is interdisciplinary on its own. But because you are now backed by this incredible support of the university and all these initiatives and recruitment of incredible faculty, you are really studying this at the most opportune time at USC. We have new facilities that are just amazing. We have new research opportunities, and just a lot of activity exactly in your space. And I'm sure Dr. Neff can talk more about that. So at this time, I'll pass it on to you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jessica. And give me just a moment to get my slides shared. Apologies. Okay. All right, great. Thank you. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. As Jessica mentioned, my name is Jessica Neff, and I am your USC Annenberg Program Co-Director. A really important element of my title is the co piece, because as you know, this is a joint degree program. So you will have a home in both USC Annenberg and USC Viterbi. On the Viterbi side, my counterpart is Dr. Emilio Ferrara, and you may have heard of him. He teaches a range of classes in data science. So let me tell you a little bit more. I'm going to underscore some of the things Jessica said and add some context and richness, particularly talking about curriculum, job placements. But I just want to echo what she said, which is congratulations and welcome to USC, to Los Angeles, to this program. This was a really competitive application cycle. So the fact that you're sitting here in this virtual room learning about the program you've been admitted to is quite an accomplishment that you should be proud of. It means that we feel like you are the best fit for us, and we hope that you feel the same way and decide to join us in the fall. Again, highlighting a few of the things that Jessica said and adding a little bit of context. I always like to show pictures of LA because it's just such a beautiful city and a really nice place to live and work and play. In addition to all of the kind of career opportunities that you have and the resources that you have at Annenberg and at Viterbi, there's just a lot going on in Los Angeles. So it's a vibrant cultural mecca. There are 100+ museums. I certainly haven't been to all of them, but I've been to many. We have over 500 tech-based companies located here. And particularly of interest for students in this program, we really span the spectrum of creative and tech, right? So, 1 in 6 residents in LA work in a creative industry, but we also have the 5th largest tech workforce in the United States. And so, as you know, we're also a global hub for media and entertainment. So for students in this program, I feel like this is kind of the place to be studying this stuff, right? There's no place quite like Los Angeles. And as Jessica highlighted, we've just got a lot going on campus right now. So we have our, billion-dollar Frontiers of Computing initiative. The university's been investing heavily in new spaces and new technologies to support our students. Annenberg is upgrading our media center, which you see in the bottom right of this slide. We have new buildings at Viterbi. The bottom left is Wallace Annenberg Hall. We will be taking a lot of your Annenberg classes. So again, it's just a really exciting place to be right now with a lot going on at two schools that are really at the forefront of, their respective fields. And just to underscore again that there's just, in terms of, tech happening in LA, there's a lot going on. And so we don't have any of our current students on today, but I'll definitely encourage you to reach out to me if you'd like to speak to a current student or an alumni student. I can put you in touch because we've had students end up at a lot of these companies, these tech companies based in LA. So there are just a lot of opportunities being embedded in this particular location for, landing those internships and lining up that job that you are looking for upon graduation. I'm going to highlight some of your program faculty. These are primarily faculty who come from the Annenberg side, though you also have a big roster of impressive faculty from Viterbi. In the top left, we have Dr. Dimitri Williams, who teaches some electives in our program, and he's a preeminent expert in gaming and data science. And so he does a lot of interdisciplinary research that kind of spans, he's a faculty at Annenberg, but his research spans both sides of the house, and he teaches some really exciting classes at the graduate level. Myself, I teach classes on research methods and statistics at Annenberg. On the top right, we have Professor Shub A, who is our most recent hire, who comes to Annenberg after a long and storied career in industry. And he's now really augmenting our expertise in AI. And so he's actually developed some new classes that I'll talk about in just a minute, specifically a new capstone class for students in this program that'll be taught for the first time in the fall that we're really excited about. Professor Ben Lee, some of you may have come across him in some of our recruiting sessions, and he teaches research methods and a class called Big Data for Communication that might be an elective that you choose to take at Annenberg. In the center, Dr. Luca Luceri, who's actually a research professor at Viterbi, but teaches one of our core classes at Annenberg, Communication for Data Science and Social Networks. And so his research is focused on misinformation and propagation of, distruths online. So he is a computer scientist, but has research that really sits in the domain of computational social science. And so he's a fantastic faculty resource as well. And finally, Professor Morton Bay, who is one of the faculty who teaches our core class that you would take if you join us in the fall at Annenberg, COM 502, Theoretical Approaches for Multidisciplinary Design Projects. It's a mouthful. But just wanted to highlight some of the faces and some of the expertise that you could expect to encounter if you come to join us in Los Angeles in the fall. So if you've applied and been accepted, I think you're probably familiar with our curriculum, but I'll just briefly highlight this because there have been a few changes, particularly to our Annenberg core class. So as you know, this is a joint program, so it's 50-50. You spend half of your time at Viterbi, you spend half of your time at Annenberg, and your course units reflect that. So you'll have those 3 core classes that you take at Viterbi. However, for students who have more advanced foundations, quantitative foundations, there are opportunities to test out of those classes. So specifically, there's a placement exam that you can take. So if you are someone who, maybe you've taken a few Python classes in your undergraduate, and then you want to make sure that you're looking out for correspondence that comes from our Viterbi advising team, because they'll be letting you know about what sort of documentation you would need to submit and what the dates are for those placement exams. There's usually a few different dates. You can take it, I think, online and on campus when you arrive. So if you're someone who fits in that bucket, then you would want to really make sure that you're keeping an eye out, because after the first semester, you can't go back and retroactively waive things. So even if you took 3 Python classes in undergrad, if you wait until your second semester to tell us about them and really officially document that, you're not going to be able to go back and get credit. So just make sure that that is something you are attending to, in your first semester, right when you join us. But not to worry if you've never, if you know nothing about Python and haven't written a line of code in your life, you are A-okay. Our curriculum is really designed to give you that gentle ramp up, so that once you take that first data science class in the fall, you'll be ready to go. And so on the Annenberg side, you have 2 core classes. As I mentioned, that class with Professor Morton Bay or Professor Colin Doty, that's your introductory theory class. What I love about that class is that we have 3 sections of that class, and it's all communication data science students. No other students take that class. And so you really have the opportunity to develop a strong community with your classmates that will then kind of move through the rest of the program. So I hear from a lot of students that they make connections and develop lasting friendships in that first semester because you're all taking the same classes together, working on the same projects, and getting an opportunity, to really develop that sense of community that will support you through the rest of your time at USC. I'm excited to talk about the options that we have for our second core class that we're rolling out for the first time this upcoming academic year. So previously we had 1 core class you could choose from, Communication 557. Data Science for Communication and Social Networks, taught by Professor Luceri, which still remains a popular choice among our students. But we have two new classes that we're rolling out in response to, changing student interest and updated, kind of industry trends that we've been observing in terms of the skill set that our graduates need. So COM 586, Applied Quantitative Methods, is really kind of taught as you're kind of working in a data science team. And so it's taught by a graduate of Annenberg's PhD program who now works as a data scientist at a gaming company. And so he is kind of simulating the experience of what it's like to work on a data science team in an organization, to participate in weekly stand-ups, and to really develop an applied project. And so that's a class we're really excited about to be offering as a core choice. And the other new option that will be taught for the first time this fall is Advanced Applied AI for Digital Media Product Development, which was developed by Professor Shub A. And so this is, again, a capstone style class that really integrates the Viterbi curriculum and the Annenberg curriculum, was designed to kind of bring together the quantitative skills that you'll have gained in Viterbi in your first year and really apply them to problems and use cases that are applicable to the types of jobs that you all will be seeking out upon graduation. This is the program at a glance. As I talked about, you'll come in and most people will take DSCI 549 and COM 502. So you'll be in the same classes with your classmates, getting to know one another. You'll take an elective in a data science core class. Most students intern over the summer. And you heard about all the great resources that you have on campus, both from Viterbi and Annenberg, to help you with internships. So we don't guarantee an internship placement, but we do have two really robust career centers. You have access to career centers at both schools that will support you in your search as you're looking for that first internship over summer. And then wrapping out your requirements in the second year. And so, we do encourage you to take 2 classes a semester so that you have time and space to take advantage of all the other things that are happening on the USC campus and in the city of Los Angeles. A little bit about the curriculum. So I'm not going to read through our elective list, but I highlight it because there are just a lot of classes that you can choose from for your electives. And so particularly on the Annenberg side, you have space for 2 electives and you have a long list to choose from. So you've probably looked on our website and seen our list of approved electives. So if you choose one of those classes, our advisors can clear you automatically. But for the most part, we have new electives coming online almost every semester. New adjunct faculty, people who work in industry, who have designed classes for us to really address what we see as kind of emerging trends that are happening in marketing, media, entertainment. And so, on a case-by-case basis, those classes are generally approved as electives. And so, and Susan can probably help me think about some of the new ones that have come on board this fall. I know we have like a fashion marketing class. We have a beauty and self-care marketing class, and a few other new ones. So check our schedule of classes and see what's on deck for fall as kind of a preview of some of the new classes that we have. You may have had a chance to look at our virtual tours, but I would encourage you, there's an opportunity to go on our website and take a look at the Annenberg School and at the Viterbi School of Engineering. Personally, I think that it's a great way for you to get excited and see the places that you're going to be learning, studying, collaborating with your colleagues. So if you haven't had the chance to visit us in person at USC, perhaps you're, halfway around the world, take advantage of these virtual tours to get a better sense of what it looks like to be at USC. I think one of the most exciting things about coming to USC is all of the things that are happening outside of the classroom. So your classes are fantastic. Your faculty are, at the leaders in their field. And so you're going to have really rich and vibrant classroom experiences, but there is so much happening outside of the classroom. I often find that students come to me and say, the challenge that I have is not finding opportunities to get involved. It's choosing which opportunities to take advantage of because there's so much happening on campus, from regular, guest speakers and events, to student organizations, to research opportunities. There seems to be something new happening every day. I was meeting with a student earlier this week, and she was telling me that she had been on campus all weekend in the past week, participating in some sort of a comedy fair that had brought in, top comedians. And she said in a 90-minute discussion panel with a comedian who was talking about a documentary that they had recently made. And, these sorts of, unexpected things happen on campus all the time. So really a lot happening. We have several student organizations, particularly on the Viterbi side, that are graduate student-led organizations that support graduate students. GRIDS, Graduates Rising in Data Science, is one of those organizations that our students in communication data science have been actively involved in and even taken on leadership roles. We have the USC Center for AI and Society, which is looking at, a lot of the kind of fundamental shifts that are taking place in our country and in our globe right now as technology is changing so much. And again, a variety of other student-led and faculty-led organizations. We have students who've also chosen to get involved in faculty research. And so that's not a requirement of this program. So you are not required to, work in a faculty research lab. But we've had increasingly students be excited about that possibility and seeking out research opportunities with faculty. And so if you're kind of someone who has an interest in that sort of work, and an entrepreneurial kind of spirit, there are opportunities to get involved and work and be involved with research with some of our faculty, both at Viterbi and at Annenberg. And as you see at the bottom, USC has over 1,000 student organizations. So from dance troops to choir to hackathons and coding, there's really something for everyone. I think one of the most important slides, and I think one that a topic that's always top of mind, is where am I going to end up interning and where am I going to end up working at the end of this program? And so I actually have not updated this slide in the past couple of months, and there are always additions here. But I've just highlighted some of the companies that our students have ended up at recently. And so you'll probably see a number of big names here, brands and organizations that you recognize. I was just talking to a student earlier this week who said that she's at a internship at a production company that is an internship program sponsored by the Academy of Motion Pictures. So, there's different sorts of things happening all the time, and students are getting a number of really exciting placements. I think what's really cool about this program is that it's pretty flexible in that you can position yourself for different types of roles depending upon what you're interested in. So I think that this is a degree that lends itself to kind of some customization. And so whether you're interested in, working in, media and entertainment, whether you want to work in marketing, whether you want to work, particularly maybe in digital media, there are electives that you can take and, opportunities that you can pursue, and you'll really have a skill set that's flexible and applies to a lot of different contexts. So, and I can put you in touch with some of our recent graduates if you're interested to hear about, firsthand how their skill set from this program has really prepared them for the jobs that they are in now. All right, so I put my contact information here. Obviously you've been doing your research, you're really thinking about this program, and you're, making, one of the most important decisions in your life. I think the decision to go to graduate school, it's 2 years out of your life. It's a lot of time and money and effort. And so that's, a decision that requires a lot of deliberation. And so if you would find it helpful to speak with me one-on-one to talk through, your specific case, questions that you have, we'll obviously have an opportunity right now to answer any general questions about the curriculum and logistics. But if you're, kind of wanting to speak to me in a personal manner, I love talking to students. And so please email me, don't be shy, and we can set up a time for a quick Zoom to discuss any specifics of your case. But I'm going to turn things back over to Jessica and Susan. Susan, I don't know if you have anything to add, and then we'll also answer any questions that you all might have. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Neff. Susan, do you want to just introduce yourself before we open it up to questions?
Of course. Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, no matter where you're at. Saying hi from LA, sunny day again. So my name is Susan Zhang. I am one of your advisors of this program. If you do choose to come join us in fall 2025, I work on the Ann Arbor side with my colleague, Adrian Capriccio. Again, if you choose to join us, you'll be receiving emails from both of us or a email address call grad ASC. That's Ann Arbor's abbreviation. We're going to send you information about class registration and career tips and everything administrative or related to your life at USC in this program from the Ann Arbor side. So just like Dr. Neff and Jessica mentioned, we have a lot of things at USC for you to choose from. I personally, I went to USC for my master's degree as well, and I'm currently doing a MBA with Marshall School of Business. So I know I've both worked in the industry, went to USC, and now I work at USC. So I can tell you, I can assure you, there's never lack of opportunities or connections for you to make if you know what you want. So if I can give you an advice is that you think about what your goals are before you even start our program. So when you see the long list of activities, events, student groups, and even career fairs, who you want to talk to, what you want to do, and how you arrange your time in a day. And as for this program, we most of our classes are at night. So you will have plenty of time during the day to socialize, to get involved on the campus, to meet with professors, to meet with your fellow students. And also because you are with both Ann Arbor and Viterbi, like Jessica and Dr. Neff just mentioned, you have the career office at Ann Arbor and Viterbi, as well as we have a central career office at USC. So you have 3 ways of support on the career front. And we also, over at Ann Arbor, we have Main Master programs. Through these programs, we bring students to big technology companies, especially if you're international students, you've never been to these major US companies, for example, OpenAI, Google. I just brought our students to Disney, Google, caused them a major virtual reality, mixed reality facility during spring break. And we have these programs for a student to apply to. And if you're admitted, you get to tour these facilities, sometimes with I say most of the time with our alumni, because there's always a USC alum at this event, and our adjunct professors. Over at the Ann Arbor side, our adjunct professors, most of them are VPs, SVPs at these major technology companies. So if you want to learn something, because it's a communication data science degree, data science experts, Viterbi has plenty. The communication experts, Ann Arbor has plenty. So, and also these professors are all, interdisciplinary experts in this 2 field. That's why Dr. Neff and the faculty member of this program, arrange these classes and hire these faculty members to teach you. Let's see. So last but not least, like I just put in the chat, we have CMGT 599 classes. There are new classes this Ann Arbor School offers each semester. So we will have, 1 or 2 or sometimes 3 new classes each semester for you to choose from, in addition to the, curriculum classes that we have all the time. So we generally offer 25 CMGT elective for you to choose from. And these classes are offered repetitively, so you don't have to worry about, hey, I don't get to take this class in fall. What do I do? You take it in the later semester. And also, if you could talk to one of our current students or one of our alums, so you know better about how to plan out your journey at USC, I think that would be very helpful. last but not least, we would love to see you on campus at USC in fall 2025, and we can't wait to be part of your USC journey.
Thank you so much, Susan. So great perspective from a student who's an invaluable member of our advising team and a student, both, alumni and current. So thank you so much. I guess fun fact, I'm also an alumnus of Annenberg's PhD program. So I think Jessica has also gone through graduate degrees at USC. So there's a theme here that this is a really great place to study and work. So
I am. I'm actually an Annenberg alumna myself, so big fan. I do see we have a question in the Q&A. Is there a thesis to be completed for this program? And just to add on to that, what kinds of research opportunities, if any, do students have access to?
Great. Sorry, I'm moving my slides so I can better read the questions here as they come up. Sorry, is there a thesis to be completed for this program? So no, we don't have like a thesis requirement. We do have capstone style classes. So you'll, complete a capstone class that will have kind of a larger research project, but you don't have to kind of do a separate thesis for this project. And in terms of research opportunities, it's not a requirement of this program, so we don't formally kind of provide those, but I will say that for the students who have expressed a desire to get involved with faculty research, I think all of those students have found a place. So if you're someone who's interested in those type of opportunities, meet with me and I can help direct you to the faculty who have large research teams and who are often seeking, student support on their projects. So yeah. Let's see. Are we able to take electives in our first semester to better fit our schedule? So in your first semester, you're kind of set in the same two classes. So everybody just automatically gets cleared to register for the two core classes, COM 502 and DSCI 549. And so no, generally not in your first semester, but then you do get a lot more flexibility in your later semesters to customize your curriculum. And let's see, how late will these classes be? So generally speaking, your Viterbi classes will generally take place during the day. I think most of the Viterbi classes are scheduled at like noon or 2 p.m. Historically have been. Your Annenberg core class COM 502 is also during the day. Most of the Annenberg electives do tend to take place in the evening. So usually in the 6:30 p.m. time slot for the Annenberg electives. All right, so for on-campus job opportunities, I saw on the website that we must complete registration first, then we can access Handshake. So when is the registration and when will the program send out the info? I'm gonna pass that to my colleagues because I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you have the dates on that. Jessica or Susan, do you know about that?
By registration, if you mean class registration, on the Annenberg side, we're going to send information about class registration during May. Because we're still working with continuing students now, we don't have a set date yet, but it will happen during sometime during May.
On the Viterbi side, I know that if you happen to be an international student, you won't be able to register for classes until you actually arrive, in August. But in terms of when you would have access to Handshake, my colleagues can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe once you submit your statement of intent and you have access to your email, your USC Net ID, you should be able to start looking at these things. I know I've had students in the summertime, even before coming, reach out about on-campus job opportunities. So just another reason you might want to go ahead and submit your intent to enroll.
Great, thank you. And I see a question about the need to defer. So you can defer for one semester. If it's beyond one semester, then it actually is required to reapply. But that being said, while there's no guarantee of admission the second time around, generally speaking, I haven't seen cases where students who ended up in that situation were not admitted again. So if you are having questions about deferral and trying to figure out the timeline, I would encourage you email me directly, and we can talk about the specifics of your case, and I can provide any kind of resources that you need as you're thinking through that decision. Because yeah, things happen, we understand, and sometimes you have to put things off for a little bit, but let's see, any other questions? How large? Oh, that's a great question. How large is the cohort? Yeah, so I think we will probably bring in a class of anywhere, I would guess this year, probably around 60 students. So we have ranged in class size. The biggest cohort we've ever brought in was 75 students. So we're kind of by Viterbi size, we're a small program, and at Annenberg side, on the Annenberg side, we're a mid-sized program. So Viterbi is a larger school than Annenberg, but yeah, probably around 60, 65 students would be in your incoming class. Currently, we have around 100 across the 2 years of the program. We have around 150 students in this program currently enrolled. And I guess another question, class size at Annenberg. So I can, there's more variability, I think, in your Viterbi class sizes. At Annenberg, your classes will generally, the maximum class size would be 25 students. The one exception is COM 557, which is a larger class. It's taught with about 50 students. So if you take that class, it's a little bit bigger. But any of your other Annenberg core classes or electives are going to be, on a smaller seminar style structure, and so with a max of 25 students. Any other questions? Well, I'll encourage you again to follow up with me. Sometimes as soon as you get out of the meeting, you realize something popped in your head that you didn't have a chance to ask. So you have my email address. And so please reach out if anything else comes up. But I hope you join us in the fall, and I'll turn things over to Jessica to wrap us up.
Dr. Neff, there's one more question.
Oh, I see it. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, great. So just as it came up, great. Thanks, Carmen. Okay, from the curriculum list, I was thinking there wasn't a capstone or course project. May I know which course includes a capstone project where we can work on real world demand data? Great question. So yeah, there's not like a capstone project that you have to complete, like a thesis requirement. Honestly, most of the electives that you take at Annenberg involve an applied project. I mean, not just the capstone projects. So, for instance, like one of the classes I teach is a market research class. And it's not a capstone class for this program. Every semester we work with a real client on a real market research problem. So you're, using client data, you're developing a report, out briefing to a client. So I think there's a lot of the electives at Annenberg follow that model. In particular, for all of those 3 core classes for Annenberg, COM 557, COM 586, and COM 587, they all involve sourcing and working with a real data set on some sort of an applied project. I would say in particular, COM 586 and 587 are more kind of a consulting style engagement. So really developing something that's more kind of tailored to a client. In the data science for social networks class, you're also, sourcing and working with the data set. It has a slightly more kind of academic and theoretical orientation than the other 2 classes, but similarly a large program, a large project that involves sourcing, analyzing, and then writing up a report with the data set. So are there any stats or data about alumni employment you can share? This is always a hard thing for me to track. We do track our alumni. I can't give you a specific percentage right now in terms of our most recent job placements. And so I guess, are you thinking, did you want like a percentage placement, or were you curious in knowing kind of where people end up and in what types of roles? Not sure if you can follow up jobs, positions, and roles. Okay, great. So I think there's a few different buckets of where students end up. We do have a handful of students who end up in kind of core data scientist roles, though I would say that's not the majority of students. Most students end up in kind of more kind of hybrid roles where they're situated in a role that is adjacent to communication industries, but is a highly quantitative role. We see a lot of students working as marketing analysts, digital media analysts, or some variety of analysts in a media marketing entertainment company. Have also a kind of cohort of students who have been interested in working in startups. So kind of taking on a role in a startup organization and working kind of a more a role where you wear many hats, which is often the case in a startup organization. And I'm trying to think, product management is another really popular role. And so like our new faculty, Shub A has several classes that he teaches fundamentals of product management. And I think that has been another job that a lot of our students have ended up in recent years. So those are some of the most common ones. And if you are kind of thinking you're interested in a particular type of role, and maybe you want to talk to an alumnus who's working in that type of role or a particular industry, reach out to me and I can help make that connection. So you could talk to somebody to kind of get a better sense of someone who's working in industry. Let's see. Great. Love all these questions coming in. When will the advanced applied AI class start being offered? Would love to know more info about this class. So we're offering it for the first time this fall. It's a class that it requires that you've taken at least the foundational Python class, DSCI 510. That's a prerequisite. So you're not going to be eligible for that to take that class until you've had at least 1 or 2 semesters under your belt, depending upon your course plan. But we'll be offering 2 sections of that class this fall and 1 class next spring. So it's already scheduled and will be a regular part of our course offerings. Actually, you should check out Shub A just wrote a book. He's having a book talk next Friday. So I'll have a plug for him if you're interested in some of the classes he's teaching in his work. Pull up his book, which was just published recently. Are most students in this program considered entry-level or mid-level in their employment careers? Great question. Most students I would say, are entry-level. So I'd say the majority of our students come into this program straight out of their undergraduate degrees or maybe with 1 to 2 years of work experience. We do have a handful of students who have, longer range of work experience, but I'd say they're in the minority. Also, in terms of the profile of students, primarily students who come from the communication side of things. So most common undergraduate degrees, communication, marketing, public relations, journalism, but we do see students from across the board. So I know we've got students with undergrads in statistics and environmental studies and business administration. So there's a lot of diversity in who comes to this program, but primarily from communication oriented or adjacent disciplines. See any other scanning for other questions. And I'm trying to think if I have any final things that I would like to highlight or share. But nothing immediately comes to mind. But yeah, thank you all for turning up, having great questions, and of course, reach out if other things come to mind.
Thank you so much, Professor Neff, and thank you, Susan. Thank you to my colleagues, too, for helping to answer questions. We appreciate all of you joining today. And again, congratulations on your admission. I hope you have all the reason in the world now to join the Communication Data Science program. But of course, if anything else comes up, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to any of us. Thank you. One last question.
Oh. Yes.
If we take a core course, do we make up those credits by taking other elective courses from the list?
Yes, you do. So say you waive DSCI 549, then you get 1 more Viterbi elective. Yep.
Perfect. All right. Thank you. We look forward to welcoming you all to campus this fall. Fight on, and we'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.